So let's check this battle. The game automatically deploys our units starting from the center of the front line. The most heavy and the most fresh and ready to fight units are in the center. Then in the middle the game usually puts some medium infantry, and at the flanks usually there are cavalry or weaker units. That's why Romans have their legions and here some archers. But please notice, if you have more units than the frontage, they can stay in the second line and they can support you. And Romans don't have this benefit because they cannot fully cover the frontage, which means that their archers cannot support their legions. They need to fight directly in the first line against our cataphracts. So even if their legions are stronger as a unit, we have a support bonus and also we have a terrain bonus because we are defending. We are in the hills and we managed to prepare some defensive positions on the hills. So I'm not sure if they will win this battle because strength of the unit is not everything. Let's check. First phase of the combat will be a range phase, so all units will perform range attacks. I stop the battle and maybe we can step back. So after performing the range attack, our skirmishers hide behind our units and can provide a support to our infantry in the first line. This unit don't have any support, but this unit have support, and 1/3 of the range attack provides a bonus to the unit before them. There is a set of fights between each opposite units in the same position. And the game compares the combat rating, so in this case the attack value of Roman legion against a defense rating of, in this case this is Polish warband. It's a provincional unit that is serving under our command, and they have combat rating 5 because their initial combat rating 4 is modified negatively by 2 because they are exhausted after the range phase. That's why range phase is quite important because they can weaken some units, but they have +2 support from skirmishers, so it's negating this effect, and we have +1 terrain defense. So at the end, they are still stronger, but even if we are weaker and exhausted, we are not so bad. Then the game rolls a 10-sided dice, and it's adding 6 plus the dice result. So you might think that is quite random, but it's not. Because of the second part visible here, we can prevent the randomness by setting the minimum roll for each of the units. And if the unit is fresh and it's experienced, they rely less on the random factors than the exhaust unit or unexperienced unit. Here we are experienced, but we are exhausted, so we don't have the fresh bonus. The 4 minimum roll means that if the roll will be less than 4, there will be repeated roll until it's 4 or more. So this way very experienced and fresh unit can mitigate the effect of random factor. And the third factor that is very important during each battle is the general existence. So the general in this case gives them nothing because he is bad at offense. In defense he is very good and he would give them 2 dice rolls in defense, but in offense he is doing nothing. So in our situation we have no general, so we don't have any additional dice rolls. You can have maximum 2 additional dice rolls. So general can also mitigate the random effects of such rolls. Okay, so let's check first duel and we'll see how our units are doing. You can see that we rolled 8 and they rolled 5. If we sum those numbers, they have 11, we have 13, so we have +2 in this combat, which means that they are losing 1 point of hit points and 1 point of effectiveness. So in next battle, they will be much weaker. That's why they also have here this orange triangle. So that was very good for us. Let's check other units. Here we have rating 8. So better than the Legion. Why? Because our unit, even if it's weaker, they have +2 support bonus and +1 from defense, and we are fresh, so we don't have the negative modifier here. In this case, this is a regular infantry, but it's an improved version, so a bit better than the standard one, and we also had a maximum roll. So even if they roll 9, we are a bit better, and the difference is 3, so the result is that they are losing 1 point of hit points and 2 points of effectiveness. Let's check next duel, because here this is interesting. The archers need to fight directly with our cataracts unit. Rating 1 compared to rating 5. Even if they would have a very good roll, that would be problematic. So in this case, they are dead. But here, you can see that they had better roll, so they can win this duel, and we will have problems. The higher the difference, the more damage you can cause to the enemy units. Here we are winning because we had better roll and we are stronger, so they will have, there is 6 points difference, so they will probably die, we'll see. Yes, and once again, the archers are fighting this time with our skirmishers, so a duel between range units, but they have direct fight. They roll the same, but we are stronger. So they have lost hit points and effectiveness, but please notice that because they are skirmishers and the difference is only +3, they can still cause damage to us because they are still able to shoot to our units. Skirmishers have this special skill. If they are losing, but the difference is not too high enough, they can still cause effectiveness losses for us. And now there is last phase of the battle. It's pursuit, and we have won the battle, and now they are retreating and we can cause them additional damage. And in this phase, cavalry is the most important one because they have the flanking modifier and they can add additional damage to retreating army. So they receive some damage. We have won the battle with Roman legion. And if we click view report, it's the same screen that if we would click the view report before the battle. So it went quite okay for our units. And here we have another battle, this time much bigger, and we are attacker. By surprise, we have used our fleet and we landed in the Latium region nearby Rome, so capital of Roman Empire. They are completely surprised by this attack and we have quite strong forces. That's why you can see there are 3 rows of units. The first row is the main front line that is covering the frontage, but in this case we are fighting in the plains, so the frontage is much bigger. The second line is for support units and the third line is for reserve units. Those units will not fight during this fight, but can be helpful if we'll have some losses and there will be a draw, then we need to continue the fight and those units from reserve might be helpful. So once again, the game visually shows us that some skirmishers want to attack our enemies using the range attack. They are nearly able to cover the frontage. They only have 1 support unit here. So in general, it's better if you can cover 2 lines of your frontage. Then your units can benefit from the support bonus. So let's execute the range attack and throw whatever we have on them. I paused the game. Please notice how efficient our range attack was. Those units are tired, this unit is exhausted, and now we are hiding behind our lines. And here the fight started. Please notice that we have our provincional heavy infantry. Those guys are really good warriors, but they are more useful in the forests. But even here, they are able to fight against Roman legions. They have better combat power because of the support, but without the support, they are equal to our warband. Also, we have a commander, Greenwald, and they have Maximus. Please notice that this guy gives them 1 additional role in defense and in offense, and in our case, we also have 1 additional role in offense and 2 roles in defense. But we are attacker, so that's why we only have 1 role. So there is the same situation. One additional roll on each side. So here they were a bit better, so we are losing only 1 point of effectiveness, so no hit points lost. Please notice that we have 4 hearts. We are able to get 4 hits, so they are really powerful warriors. Here we have 1 and really damage them. Here small victory. You can see the difference was so high that we have managed to kill the cavalry in a single attack. Same here and same here. Please notice they had evading statistic. The evading happens if your unit, usually cavalry, is faster than your opponent. Then you can reduce some damage, but it was not enough to survive. And here small victory, but also they have both evading and skirmisher statistics. Even if they lost this duel, they were able to throw something at us and do some damage, and also they could avoid some hit point loss. In this case they should lose 1 hit point, but they lost only 1 effectiveness. And now other side of the battle, we have small loss. Please notice those are Rex Custodii. They are the best unit in the whole empire, and I can have only 1 such unit, but they have 8 rating with the support, so 6 combat rating in attack. Very great unit, alone can do a lot. And they have 3 points of effectiveness and 4 hits. And here, please notice how weak the cavalry is in defense. So it's better not to use cavalry against heavy infantry as a defensive unit, because bad things can happen. Also, the skirmishers are not best against our, this time, normal medium warriors, but still, they have lost. Finally, somebody can deal some damage. Numidian cavalry, provincial unit. In general, provincial units are very good. Once again, the light cavalry were trying to manage to deal some damage even if they were losing, and also evading the losses, but it was not enough. And please notice that this is the advantage if you have more units in the front line. If I could have another cavalry unit, I could fill this gap, but the last field on the frontage sometimes is reserved to the flanking units, and here you can see I cannot attack them, but they are using the flank attack and we have a problem. And a big problem. But overall we have win, and now all units will try to deal additional damage, and here in this phase especially, as I said before, cavalry is good and skirmishers. We have won and we can siege the Rome. That's why Rome decided to propose a peace, because they were not prepared for this attack. You can see we have used our fleet. They are quite damaged because of the lack of supply, but we are sieging Rome, and this was unexpected. Of course, long term it will be difficult because, as you can see, the siege will last a long time and we don't have any units that are helping with siege, so this attack was only to demonstrate that we can do surprise attack and fight big battle. So now let's go back to our land, and now we will discuss how we can win the battle before we even start the battle. So how to properly prepare for the combat. If we switch to the movement overlay, you can see that there are hills, forests and plains. And the difference between those 3 is quite significant. The most important aspect is the defensive bonus that you can receive in hills and in the mountains. So in hills you have +1 combat power, and in mountains +2 if you are a defender. And heavy infantry has negative modifier while they are fighting in forests. So let's find some Roman units that have heavy infantry here. They have legion, and you can see if you hold ctrl, over the unit, we can see better description. They have trait Legion, which means attack and defense penalty 2 points, which is active in forest and swampy and mountain regions. So those units shouldn't fight in such hard, difficult terrain. They are very good on flat plains, but in forests, fighting against our heavy infantry that is specialized in the forest terrain, because they are woodsmen, you can see that they have movement bonus, attack and defense bonus, active in forest. That's why Roman heavy infantry had problems in forest with such units. So let's go back here and check our army, because in Fields of Glory Empires, all units matters. It's not like in other games when you build the biggest stack possible and you attack and you forget. Here all units are really important. As you saw, skirmishers. They are very weak units, only 1 hit point, 2 effectiveness. They have 2 attack and 2 defense, but still they are crucial to win battles because they can give support during the battle and weaken the enemy in the range phase. Light cavalry. They also give a support, but can flank enemies. And please notice this superior skirmisher trait. There is extra fatigue margin of 5. It means that if the enemy will defeat us, but the difference will be not bigger than 5 points, we can still deal them damage. Also we have move 10 points, so we are very fast and we can evade enemy units during the battle. So light cavalry is also useful, but in direct attack they have only 1 attack and 2 defense, so use them only if you have properly prepared to the frontage. So where you can check the frontage? If you click on any terrain, here the first option you can see the terrain type and there is information frontage 8 fields. It means that 8 units can fight in the first line and you would like to avoid having their weak units or light cavalry. The key to victory is to be able to cover the frontage twice as much units as the frontage, so in this case 16, and in the second line have some skirmishers and 2 or 4 cavalry units. But there are terrains like forests where the frontage is only 5 and in the mountains also 5. But this round the frontage is decreased because we have harsh weather. So for example, in plains the frontage is 10, but normally if the weather is good, the frontage is 12. So the bad weather, which occurs each 4 rounds, is also an important factor when you plan your battles. So we discussed the frontage and the terrain impact on the defender, and that some units are bad in the difficult terrain. The rivers don't have impact on the battles, because at this scale we assume that we could enter the region or not based on the increased cost of the movement, and the rivers are not a factor during the battles for simplicity. But the food might be a factor. In this case, there is quite big stockpile of food in this region, so we don't need to be worried. But if you are moving big army in a region where there is not enough food, you may lose effectiveness. So our army is consuming 7 food per round, and the food is subtracted from the food stockpile of the region or nearby friendly regions if there is not enough food here. And if there is still not enough food, there the forage value can be used. So in the hint you can see that forage value is 9, so we can get 9 food by pillaging the region, which might negatively affect the situation in the region. So maybe let's load a different game to show you other battles. Here we have example of another tribal empire, Scythia. They like steppe terrain and horses, and we have attack capital of Sarmatia, but you can see that we were partially supplied last round. We need 12 food, we couldn't receive such amount, and then some units couldn't recover, and we have a problem. And here there is a bigger army of our enemies. So what we can do? The only hope is that our commander is very good at defense. Defense rating 2 means we will have 2 additional rolls when we will defend. Also, he is ambusher. So in the forest terrain, he has attack bonus +1 and defense penalty. So we could attack in forest, but better not to defend in forest. So probably we need to stay here and wait for them, because in this region, this round, we are able to get the required food because they have 30, so we can stay here a few rounds. And their commander has 1 offensive rating, so they probably will attack. Also, they are quite experienced. You can see all those stars. And we are less experienced, so this battle might be very difficult and only the leader can save us. Or we can move to the marshes because their frontage is 5. We could have a better chance to survive there, but then we lose our bonus from steps. Because if we hover our unit, you can see that we have a trait stepman, which means that probably we should try to defend in our favorite terrain. And also commander is better, so maybe we'll survive. Let's check. They are attacking. But please notice that we also have more units because the garrison of this region is helping us during the fight. They are much weaker units, but thanks to their help, we might not have a problem with the frontage. So let's view the battle. Range phase ended and first duels started. Here we are on the bottom and we have good commander, so that's why we have 2 additional rolls. They have only 1 because of their attack. They have a bit better unit, but still our commander saved this situation. We could kill them. Here, this time we have much better bonus because of the stepman and support bonus. This unit was not our national unit. They were Sarmatian warband, so they had no bonus from the terrain, but we have +2, so we can mitigate their +1, and we have 8 total rating, including also our 3 rolls. They don't have big chances to win. Also here, same here. This is our normal cavalry, so they are quite good in normal direct fighting. And please notice that those 2 fields are green and they are reserved for the cavalry, so only cavalry can stay at those fields. We have only 1, they have 2, so they will be able to flank this unit and damage them. Probably also they will kill them. As expected. They can now flank, if there is nobody here, they will attack somebody in our support line. Here we are winning. And all of that is because our leader can roll additional 2 dice. And of course we have quite good units. Oh, here they won, because even if we have 3 rolls, they have 2. So even a weaker unit can sometimes deal us some damage. But also this unit was tired, so they couldn't reroll, and the minimum roll is really low. Also they are not really experienced. And please look here, they are fresh and experienced. So this is a huge factor to mitigate the randomness. So we were able to deal them some damage, even if we lost. But sadly, they could flank our unit. And this is a quite good example, because battle ended in a draw. What does it mean? It means that we will continue in the next impulse of the game. Because as I already explained in the video about movement and orders, each round is divided into impulses. And you can even have 12 separate battles in one round because of that. So now we can view the report, and there is another battle in the same region with the same units, and they keep their stats, their damage and their loss efficiency. That's why the combat power will be different. Frontage is very big, so we'll see how it will look like. Range attack, very good, because we exhaust 3 units. This is a really big advantage in this battle, because they could only tire us and we could exhaust them. So here I see that there will be a problem with that unit because they can flank us, but we have more support, so maybe we can win. If units have the same result, they both lose effectiveness and one hit point. +3, so we take 1 hit point and 2 effectiveness. Here it was more than +3, so any additional difference causes 1 point of hit point and efficiency. But better not to lose more than 3 points. And you can see flanking, yeah. So having cavalry that can flank is really helpful. Oh, this was good attack. But all thanks to those free rolls. We have advantage. So even our skirmishers could defend. And finally we have won. It was a big defeat for you, Vlad. We are after the battle. We could get enough food from the region, because in the region, you can see in the hint, available food is 22 and the production is +2. So we can recover, because if you have enough food, your units can recover the effectiveness 1 per round, and then if they recover full effectiveness, 1 hit points per round. So it can take some time to recover fully such units like this one. This will be 3 rounds. There are some orders like forage the land, so we can restore 1 effectiveness to troops, and we can remove the exhaust penalty in battle. Also there is a motivate troops order, which will give +1 attack and defense, and you can see I can issue this here. Next round, if there will be battle in this region, they will be motivated by me. But such orders are really helping, but you need to carefully plan them. Please notice that they use forage the land, and we can use force march also to have better movement. So those orders are also sometimes a matter of winning or losing, but you don't have many of them, so use them carefully. By right clicking I can remove it. So what we can do, we probably should chase them and finalize, because they are really weak and we cannot let them recover. So I can select my army, and instead of selecting region, I will select the unit, and now we'll chase them, even if they will move to the different region. The terrain is plain and frontage is 14, so it's fine because we have more units than they. And also which units you can put in your main front line is important, because if they would have 8 skirmishers, then it would be easy. But if they have cavalry, it's more difficult, but we have also cavalry, so they are better because they have 5 attack, which is modified by the terrain. And what is important? Important is that units have attack and defense, and only one of them will be used during the fight. If you are attacker, only attack statistic of your units will be used. If you are defender, only defense statistic will be used. So this is very important. But sometimes you have powerful unit in attack, weak in defense, and you can lose because of that. Arranged defense shows how protected we are against arrows or other weapon that skirmishers can use. Flanking modifier is how many damage we can do using the flank attack. Experience is increasing the minimum roll, same as effectiveness. And the combat power is some overall number, but I prefer to check attack and defense separately depending on our situation. And warriors have the besieger trait. Only units with that trait can help us to siege walls. That's why our attempt to attack Rome would be unsuccessful without units with this trait. And they are normal skirmishers, so the extra fatigue margin is lower than in case of light cavalry that can use also bows, but still they are providing support. You can see there is support unit. And one important factor is the siege resist attribute. Such units, when put behind the walls, are really improving the defense against enemy that is sieging your city. If you add to this a commander, it's very difficult to conquer well-protected city with high walls. Okay, please notice that I can also pillage the land, and then I can damage their province. But let's focus on chasing them. They were not even trying to escape, but this time we'll only click view report. So it was quick, but still we had some losses. And their commander died, because in each battle there is a chance that your commander will die, depending if there is a draw, if there is a win or lose. This was a draw, but still this guy was killed. So the continuation of the battle should be much successful, but still we have lost a unit because we were exhausted. So it looks like the land is ours. And one information, to change leader in your army, you need to click the portrait and then you can select from available pool of commanders. And you can also see their traits. Also, your main leader is very important because, for example, this one increased the leader quality bonus by +2. There is also other trait that increase the amount of leaders that we can have. It's called militarist. So it's also good to know that your main leader can affect your generals. And the more military buildings you have in your empire, if you go to nation traits, you will increase the military expertise. And if you have this number bigger than 1, you may have better leaders and even more experienced units. It's good to know. And the last thing is the provincial armies. So if you have any province, then here there is information what provincial unit we might hire inside that province in any region of that province, but the unit will appear in the provincial capital. So in this case, if I will queue some units, here you can see I have Sarmatian cataracts and its provincial unit. I hope you could learn something. Thank you for watching and see you later.